forgot what I decided I was going to say to start off these videos. I can't remember if it was clever or not. Probably wasn't. Anyway, tonight's video is about bass. Now, what do I mean by that? I get a lot of generous and polite comments about my guitar tones. A lot of good feedback, so thank you guys for that. But the questions range from like, how do I get that sound, and what settings am I using, what cabinets am I using, and that's all fine and well and good. I usually explain all that stuff, in videos that follow a tone video. But one key thing, and I think I've touched upon it before, one key thing is bass. Now, what do I mean? Bass guitar. I rely heavily on bass guitar. So without dicking around too much, let's just jump into it. I'm going to use the newest song I'm working on because I think this is a perfect example, a very good case study of what I'm talking about. The riff isn't very busy, and the bass really adds pretty much all the heft to it. So let's give it a listen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. I love how this is sounding so far. I don't have a ton of processing going on with these guitars. Just a little bit of a boost. 1 dB at 7.5K. 1 dB at 2K. Pretty standard. I think I do this within a lot of my Helix tones also. I believe I did this in my simple metal tone and building a tone from scratch. A lot of these settings I duplicate. I just add another dB in the full mix of the guitars. And then I just have this doing a low pass. So I'm cutting out some of the high end, and then I have a little bit of a notch. I have actually two little notches, getting rid of some whistly sounds. That's not important here. What is important is you'll look at, I have these spectrum analyzers up, or EQs up, to show you what space the guitars are occupying and what space the bass is occupying. Take a look again. Watch the graphs. So you'll see there's a lot of business happening down here at about 68 hertz. Undo that. The bass is handling the low end. The bass is taking up that range. My guitars, you'll see, very mid-focused. That's why I do cut a lot out of my bass. I cut a lot of mids out of my bass. The guitars are occupying that space, so I try not to overlap too much. Now you'll notice that I have a lot of high end in my bass. I like the bass to scream through, almost blending with the guitars. It's just how I've always liked it. I like a dirty, gnarly bass, but there's a ton of low end happening. As a matter of fact, I have another EQ at the end of the chain that'll give you it'll give you a better example of what I'm talking about. This is the first EQ. This is my shaping EQ, so I did make a bit of a mistake. I'll show you this again. This is just a flat EQ on the bass. Excuse me. lot of sub-frequencies down there. You can see it. It's probably pretty ugly. I don't know that I would necessarily leave all of that in a final mix, and I just kicked the camera. I'm so sorry. Amateur hour. Okay, so what's the point I'm trying to make here is that this bass is bringing this mix together, in my opinion. I'm going to run through this again with the bass, and then I'm going to let it run through another time and take the bass out. And you will see, not only does it take away a lot of the balls of the guitar, but it also, I think, affects the drums. So the way the kick and the bass are working together, it just makes it sound cohesive. When you take the bass away, everything sounds a little anemic. So let's listen. Now, when I started playing around with this and getting ready for this video, it was crazy to me how much taking the bass guitar away, my bass guitar, the way I like it, how much it seemed to affect the drums. I'm not sure what you guys are listening on, so I am hoping you can notice that. But the drums sound good, don't get me wrong. But the bass is just like, it's just bringing everything together. It's melding it all together. It's gluing everything together. And if you just listen to the guitars, let's listen to the guitars. It sounds pretty good, obviously. I like the way it sounds. When you hear him soloed, you can hear all that high end. I'm sure everybody's going to comment on that. It's so harsh. I don't like the high end. I know, I get it. You don't like the high end. I get it. It's fine. But that guitar with the bass, I've always loved bands where the bass plays a very important role in the overall tone of the song or the tone of the band. It works with the guitar. It works with the drums. It's how I like it. So, why am I explaining this to you guys? Because I think the way I shape my guitars has a lot to do with me knowing what my bass is going to sound like. So let's just solo the bass. Let me preface this by saying, obviously there's not a ton happening with the bass. So keep that in mind. If it's a rather intricate part or very riffy part, a riffy technical term, riffy part, you may be looking for a different sound, or you might be focusing on different frequencies depending on what's going on in the song. This song is just chugging away. It's just driving. It's just thudding. You want that low end. I wanted the low end there. The strings on my bass right now are a little bit old. I can hear that. It's not as bright. I usually have to tame my bass a little bit, but I didn't really have to on this. Let's listen to a different part where I have some clean guitars and some like not so heavy guitars going on. See if that'll emphasize, if that will drive home the point I'm trying to make here. That's the exact same spot. Learn your song, bro. Here we go. So there, in this particular part, the bass is at the forefront. The bass is coming through. The bass is the loudest part. Got some clean guitar. I have those light. They're not as distorted. It's a little more kind of like just dirty. And then I got some clean layered in. I'll show you. A lot of people bug me about clean tones too, and I just been lazy putting it off. So let's hear the clean tones I'm working with here. Not bad. All together now. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're building guitar tones and when you're thinking about mixing a song and putting a song together, kind of have in the back of your head, what bass sound am I going to go for? It isn't always the place to have a gnarly, distorted bass like this. Sometimes you want that round, warm, fat bass tone. Sometimes you want that real mid, like honky, old school sounding bass tone. A lot of the stuff I write, I can get away with having this gnarly bass. So you want to think about that. You want to think about all this stuff as a whole. I know it's definitely like one is inclined to have a big, thumpy, low end guitar tone when you're just jamming by yourself. But in the context of a mix and a song and a band, you don't always need the guitar to cover that low end. That's what the bass is for. That's what your kick is for. Think of it as a piece of the puzzle. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Think about your bass tone. I'm pretty sure I got a couple videos on my bass tone. If you want me to go into depth a little bit more about that, let me know. If you want to go in depth about some of the other key things that you may have heard in this song, I have some cool... there's some cool stuff happening in this song. Some clean tones, some reverb tricks, for like some ambient guitar. So yeah, just let me know what you guys are looking for. Let me know what you guys need help with. I've gotten some real good feedback on people saying thank you for the help with the Helix. I had one person reach out to me today and say that, hey, I'm keeping my Helix because your videos help so much. That's what I want to hear, man. I'm not getting paid by Line 6, but I know when you invest in a piece of gear, there's nothing shittier than not knowing how to use it or that learning curve. So if I can help you guys sound better, record more, and be more creative, that's the point of all this, is to help each other write music, do what we want to do. So bass, think about your bass to go along with your guitars to help bring your mix together. I'll play a little bit more on the way out. I hope you like it. I just gave you a thumbs up because I'm the cheesiest mother on the planet. Bye.